under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now we have the four-way test. So first, is
it
the truth?
Is it fair to all?
Third will be
friendships.
fourth. See some new people out here, that's awesome. And number five.
Is it fun?
What?
Holiday party.
Holiday party.
Murder mystery.
Here, back to you, Mr. President.
Remember
Thank you.
the holiday.
Who got it?
All right, Eileen.
Yes, today's quote comes from Albert Einstein, a person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new.
All right, some visitors, some recurring visitors. We got David and Robert back there. I think they're probably, you're just gonna have to join the club now.
Are you members now?
You're here, you're here enough.
Lori keeps saying she's gonna bring the paperwork and.
Okay, you can just go on our website.
Yeah.
It won't let you download it.
No.
Okay, I'll bring something, I'll bring copies of it.
Yeah. It wasn't working on their phone. I got to work on it.
Okay.
But then.
And then we have a long lost member here that's back, Dawn Iverson.
Hey. Well, that nice weather. It's nice. Yeah, it's not here tonight.
Our speaker today is gonna be Mr. Lance Morehouse. Teaching us how to make wood projects. It's hands-on.
What?
You're going downhill.
Go with it.
Wood projects.
Over here in favor.
What?
You guys get your minds out of the gutter.
It's primarily
Birthdays, Paul on the 19th,
Yeah, happy birthday, Paul.
30 years old,
Yeah, 46.
46.
Very close.
And then Chris Smith was on the same day. Chris is not here. Anniversaries, Sam and Mariah Lowe, 18 years on the 24th. No Rotary anniversaries. Announcements, next meeting will be at the Buzz Inn, just a casual get together. And then we have on the 7th, we have our holiday extravaganza party, murder mystery, ugly sweater. And I'm sure Rochelle will talk more about that later.
I'm sure you will.
Here.
Oh, later.
A reminder of the district conference is coming up in May 2nd and 4th, and I think the deadline for early discount, the tickets is the 31st December, so get on that.
Will we pay for that, or we have to send people, or how does that
I'm not
work?
sure how we've done it.
I would send the president. Rise, it's
Okay.
fun. I
Yeah,
like it.
okay, well, I don't know, I'll have to refresh myself on what we've done in the past, and maybe we can send more. of
Otherwise,
those.
it's fine ticket if you haven't been to a district conference.
Yeah.
Fun, you
And I
guys-
know we have Gary and Rand, and I think Chris is, Chad Flayla. It's close.
They have a murder mystery thing going there too, and a magic room and all kinds of cool
So,
stuff. And Rand will be there, by the way.
And
yeah,
Chris
we
is
have a
gonna
murder
sing.
mystery.
What? Oh, you missed the last meeting.
Is that the murder mystery? He sings, so
What, district conference? What's today, the district?
May
conference?
2nd through 4th.
May second.
I think it's a weekend, didn't look at that.
It is.
But it is good, I highly recommend it.
Okay,
Good.
all right,
They're always fun.
sounds like a blast. I know, I think the next two are gonna be in Harrison Hot Springs in Canada.
Next two.
Next two after, yeah, so, so I don't know, I can't remember who does next year, but then Kathleen Olson said she's just gonna copy. Cause I guess Harrison Hot Springs is easy to work with as a venue, so, where Toledo is, as Rand will tell you, is not the easiest place to work with, so, but please attend the district conference if you can. Reports. Lori's not here, she's stuck behind a bunch of trees in the road, so she will not be here. Gary is not here.
80
'cause
degrees
he's,
in Arizona.
yeah, he's basking in the sun in Arizona. I don't see him online either, so he decided not to show up at all.
John, did you come back at the beginning of the week or?
No, I came back the day after the storm, just by chance.
Brian,
Easy.
we're going through this quick.
Everyone else?
Lance, you got lots of time to talk. Eileen, Hub Services.
Yes, if you haven't signed the card for Christine Eaglestead, please sign it. Her dad is having surgery the day after Thanksgiving, so this is just kind of a, hey, we're thinking of your card. If anybody else knows of anybody who needs a card, or I have a couple of cards I'll probably bring next week, for a couple of folks, who are expecting grandbaby. And,
Hold on.
huh?
It's 2 weeks. Haven't had that.
It's coming though.
We hope. No, she hopes.
Yeah, I guess you.
So if you know of anybody, please reach out, and that's all I have for now.
Thank you. Bob, Foundation,
Yeah, we did great.
Chris,
Yes,
International.
Roger. Yeah, there was a meeting last night, real quick, they had their $65,000 that they kind of placed into 4 different funds. One was for, new computers for the classroom that they're trying to get going for Saturday and Sunday. They go to school for 7 hours a day there on the weekend. And then they're trying to get the tech school built up because we're all about tech, right? And things like that. You don't have to have a 4-year degree, but you gotta know how to pound the nail. Especially if you're over there in Copan, not a lot there, so. It was a pretty good meeting. It's a pretty intense meeting. Linda was on there as well, so we're kind of co-chairing the RI thing, but, there are a lot of, good things happening over there. So if anybody wants to go on a trip, let me know and we'll get you set up and give you some boots and rain gear.
so they go to school 7 days a week.
No, they go, I don't know what they Monday through Friday, there's public and there's private. They're trying to get funds for like more of a private on a weekend thing. And the big thing is getting computers and sewing machines. And there's not really a theft problem, but there could be. And there's a situation where Rotary can't own the computers or the sewing machines, so they gotta tag them and make sure they don't get stolen. And there's a lot of things going on over there. And the government's not very helpful. So we're trying to work through different things with the government to try and get, well, one thing was getting some more water. They have a truck goes by and fills up their canteens that are, 50 gallons or whatever it is, 3 days at a time. And they're trying to figure out how to get more water to like drink and cook and flush the toilet if they have one. It's pretty cool.
What's their internet situation today?
Their internet, that's a good question, because they do have internet, but it's not quite like ours. It's probably like 30 baud,
Old school AOL.
Yeah, and they're trying to beef that up a little bit as well. And once again, it's computers, and then once you buy computers for these people, now you need some techie dude to connect them to the internet, and then you need some other dude to fix them, and stuff like that. So it gets really complex. You can't just throw some computers out the door and there you go, and what's a curriculum and those kind of things. And so you gotta think ahead. And then the other thing is, it's trying to have that foresight that they can self-sustain. So if you do computers, maybe you create a job for a computer tech, they're hard to find here in Lake Stevens. So let alone over there in the jungle, kind of a thing, so.
Is there an opportunity to do a Starlink sponsorship?
A what?
A Starlink sponsorship for the school?
Is that more like internet access?
Yeah.
That's
Starlink.
Elon Musk's internet.
It's a big satellite whip.
Oh, yeah, I suppose, that's a good point. Maybe you could go.
Do it, Brett.
Let's go.
Bring him Starlink.
Yeah,
You don't have to come back.
we use Starlink out at Arlington Airport because the Wi-Fi is so bad, or the cell signal is so bad, we use Starlink and it works great.
I'll have to get with you later about that. Yeah. It's just a matter of getting it down in there and how to self-sustain it kind of a thing or whatever.
So there's some really cool packages out there to do a solar package with Starlink and, okay, it's, wouldn't be rocket science.
Yeah, okay.
Get it? No, that's,
Is that available? Yeah.
That took all Bill's time too, so.
Yeah.
It's a Friday morning now.
All right, thank you for that report. Membership, I don't see Kyle or Raquel, vocational. Lance, got anything? Okay, programs, Kendra, you got anything on programs?
I am in talks with, well, I'm trying to get the Friends of the Library nailed down to talk about their Advent book calendar program they do for Christmas. That sounds real cool. And I'm also talking to like the Recovery Coalition to come in and talk about substance abuse recovery centers in Snohomish County. And I have a few other contacts out with them, like Homage, just different organizations, but I haven't gotten anyone to actually nail down a date yet, but they're coming.
And Marty Pease from IPA would like to come.
Yeah, so like I sent her an email and she didn't respond, and I've been meaning to call her and totally forgot until I heard you talking about Copan. So I will call
Okay.
her today.
Okay, cool, awesome.
And Kendra, will you want me to send you the information for past District Governor David Lukoff to come and share about our friendship exchange to Hungary?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Okay, I'll email you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. Rand, public image.
We tackled the website Tuesday night. We have our first meeting on that. So anybody who'd like to join us, I'm gonna ask Gary to send out a link to the Zoom
Yeah.
call, so anybody's welcome to join in.
Okay, I didn't, okay. Yep, I looked. All right, Chris, let's do some, we don't have any treasurer here, so we're not gonna have a raffle.
Okay. There's no raffle, so,
We do happy bucks and
we'll talk about happy bucks. Who's happy and who's not? Santa's taking a list.
the number between 1 and.
The 100.
You want me to?
So we'll start up here. Johan, are you happy today?
Yes, very happy that I didn't lose power.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to drive on Lake Stevens because it's closed over there. And then I got behind a school bus and made 47 stops on the way here.
And you were still early, Chris.
Can you believe it? I can't believe it. Tell my, yeah. Anyhow, Kendra, how about you? Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm happy. We're headed to Alaska this Sunday for the Thanksgiving week. And it's kind of like a bittersweet thing, but ultimately happy that my father-in-law had like a major medical emergency this week. And if anyone knows a stubborn farmer, you know they don't want to go seek medical attention, but his wife forced him to, and he ended up, it was some sort of brain bleed type situation. So he's in the hospital. They're trying to figure out what it is, but he is stable and alive. And so we're happy that he actually got in there.
Good, that's good news, I guess. So Linda,
Good morning. I'm happy that it's Friday and almost everybody's power's back on.
good, okay. Ron, how about you?
Just happy it's Friday. It's,
Okay.
I have power and I lost it for maybe 30 seconds at the most, so.
Okay. Awesome. Ours is out for about 24 hours. How about us over here?
Yes, I'm happy. I was one of the people without power, also was the person who had a tree come down on my house.
Oh,
So I was putting out candles, the lights had gone out earlier and thought, oh, I hope it's fine to go to bed, it's kind of dying down, and heard like, oh, that one was a little close. I'm like, maybe I should go check with the, hit a neighbor or so, and then I thought, oh, gotta put a jacket over my pajamas and find a pair of shoes. Did that, so okay, go ahead and do it. As I'm doing that, my neighbor's ringing the bell, like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh yeah. Stop.
Wow.
And she's like, the tree fell on your house. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? I look out, it's dark, you can't see, but I have a big tree in the corner that came all the way to the house and hit the front. And when I'm like, wow, okay, that really did. Well, let's look inside. I opened up the curtains and I can see nothing but branches and needles in my front window. But it did not crack that window, didn't break that window. Didn't I'm looking inside, okay, no damage inside, of course you can't see in the dark. But in the morning, it's like, it looks pretty amazing. I think that tree had been there since the house was built in 91. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, reached out to, Christine texted me a guy that she used, and that was the same guy that I've used in the past, so he was able to come that day and their crew got it cut up, and amazingly, all it did was, because it's one of those spruces that starts to get a second like crown. And so it landed on either side of my gable of the front window, and then some of the branches, they caught it in the ground, so it didn't come through more. And it's contacted Brian's crew, thank you, Amy. And they're gonna come and fix the roof and do a couple other things, but the actual repair for the damage was like $500. And if anyone wants some free firewood, that would probably need to be cured for a year. There's some sitting in my front yard that you're welcome to.
I'll have to text me your address.
Yeah, no, I just feel very, very thankful.
Yeah.
Could have been a lot worse, and so many offers of help from neighbors and people in the community, and then people, coming up that made me feel like it was easier to handle on my own, where I'm used to having a, partner's help. So anyway, I'm just feeling very thankful.
Sure. Same thing, happy that we didn't have too many issues outside just the inconvenience of not having power and
Yeah,
happy to be here.
well, good, nice to have you here. Yeah. We've done this, well, we should have checked in.
So this is like a blessed vibe. So I was at church Sunday and there's a giving tree, right? So their needs and their wants. So my wife grabbed 3 of them. And when I was walking to go away, I came back and she was talking to a lady and I'm standing there, I'm looking at what they are. One kid needed a pillow, another kid needed socks, and another kid wanted dinosaurs. And I literally broke out crying because I'm like, holy smokes, like if your need is a pillow. And so I'm blessed to have never experienced that, but at the same time, it was so much fun to go to the store and start shopping for stuff and call the church to get more.
Yeah.
How many more kids can we do, So it was pretty exciting because we don't have little kids anymore. So it's pretty fun. If you think back on shopping for little kids, finding those dinosaurs and stuff, that was so much fun.
And how often did you walk down the trail, like if we would have had that when I was?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the dinosaurs now move, and they even had a remote control dinosaur. I almost got that for my desk. Pick up stuff, So, what's that?
What did they do?
They pick up stuff. But bites up in their arm. It didn't tail me.
Yeah, they got it.
It has short arms, so it hasn't really been way over.
Can't pick up the bill or the check or.
The tail helps with that, by the way.
Let's see if they go to radio.
You saw
You
it
saw
on
it
radio?
on radio.
You play it on the radio, you can sing.
That's actually magical.
But there's a thing with codes, people don't have codes, and you mentioned some of that stuff, for the kids don't have codes. So, how about you, Paul?
So I am now 60 hours and 19 minutes without power.
Wow.
So super blessed that we have a generator that runs so well and had a chance to run out and between clearing 2 people's driveways, ran a chainsaw for about 4.5 hours on Wednesday morning, so that felt good.
Yeah.
And
Liberating.
yeah, I just love serving people, so that was just
Yeah.
fun to be able to do.
That's cool. Yeah. All back here. Just happy to have you here.
Yeah, I'm happy I'm here and no power, I didn't lose power.
Oh, good.
Nice.
I got a happy 20 because there was nobody to make change, but that's.
That was our plan. Lori's actually around the corner, but.
I'm just happy to mention, Zumiez has a foundation that donates warm clothing to nonprofits, and every year we usually get a couple of pallets of coats and things, so they weren't sure they were gonna do it this year, and about 2 weeks ago contacted us, so we got it, and so we are distributing to the people that we serve. And then whatever's left over, we'll donate to the food bank and help this community stay warm.
Awesome.
So fine for being late, apologize, happy we did not lose power, which is unusual, we're generally the first to lose and the last to get.
Wow.
Last windstorm, we were out for 5 days. And another happy luck, my daughter is in Montana right now, testifying before the legislature on behalf of the University of Montana. Yeah.
Here. Hi.
Hello. Happy it's Friday, I'm a Ben Roller.
Yes.
Happy it's Friday, heading to New York for a week to visit my daughter and have Thanksgiving with her, super excited. She has every minute 24 hours, and all I wanna do is walk the dog in Central Park, so. We gotta do some stuff, and holiday party's coming up.
Holiday Bowl.
Holiday Bowl, no, holiday, it's called Murder at the Mayor's House, is at John Spencer's. December 7th, 5 to 9.
There's a five. I think I blew right over your report.
You did, but it's all good.
It's always at the top of the list, so I just like turn the page and go right.
It's all good. It's all good. So we have lots of fun things planned. We've been working on it. We have a company coming in from Shark Tank that's doing our murder mystery. So it's not like a lame
Yeah.
situation.
Read something. What is
of
that?
lame people trying to get away from party. And thank you to Bob Powell. We're having a salmon dinner. That he has donated the salmon. So, Ruth is our caterer. We all know she's fabulous. So instead of doing heavy appetizers, we're actually doing dinner. So we're gonna have salmon and, cheesy cauliflower and all kinds of fun stuff in a dessert. We have some cases of wine left over from Corks and Kegs. So I'm gonna bring red wine. So we have red wine till we run out. It is a BYOB situation. John has a huge, beautiful bar in his entertaining room, so yeah, well, not saying that it's stocked, but that you could use with your BYOB. Yeah, I can't give up, John's. So yeah, so December 7th, everyone got an email. If you didn't, let me know. I'll resend the link, or just let me know. What? So you can pay Lori with cash check, or you can Venmo the $50 per person to the club. Super easy, and I love it ahead of time so we can plan food and all things. It's like easier. And this morning I was talking to Gary on the way to the meeting, and he said he's in Tucson, so I scored his parking spot. So that was it. Yeah, whatever. Take it, do it, bring it.
Hey, Venmo again. I received an offer to sell my company last night and I will most likely accept it.
Wow, congratulations.
It is huge. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Major change in life coming.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's a 14-month earnout, so I don't get to just walk away, but
Still get paid.
still get paid. Right? It's cool.
Congratulations.
14 elected.
Yes, twice as good as 7.
I was lucky for that.
Congratulations.
For 14 minutes, I have no extra left. But I am just happy that, we got the donation from Zoomies and that we didn't lose power either. We got just enough of a blip to reset all the clocks.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, but,
And to interrupt my TV show.
yeah. But I am, I start vacation, after tonight, so I'll have all next week off, which I'm really excited for. I'm excited for the holiday party because
Yeah.
I love Christmas. Sure.
No, nice to see you back. Well, it's good to be here. I'm just happy that there's a lot of fun things coming. The party is going to be great. We're going to Sancadia with the family for about 3 days, I think, here right after Thanksgiving. And that is exciting. Be back for a while. 3 weeks. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll meet all of you. Yeah. Good to have you back.
Yeah, you're missed when you're not here.
You know, when you are here, we wish you were. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm happy power's back on too, like most of us at home. I don't really mind it being out, but the food bank lost power and just got it back yesterday. But it was really cool to see how amazing our community is and our volunteers and everything. Amy and Brett both showed up yesterday and helped out. Amy brought a bunch of lighting. So we pushed forward with distribution since it was our Thanksgiving distribution. We were giving out all of our turkeys and everything, and we knew doing it next week wouldn't work very well because turkeys take a little while to thaw out. But yeah, I put up string lights. Amy laughed at me. It actually,
Round?
No,
Also,
I wasn't done yet. Don't tell the fire department. I actually strung them up on the sprinkler things because that seemed like the safest place. They're coming down today. Don't worry, Ron. It did actually work pretty well, but then Amy brought some construction lighting that her and Brian had.
you made quite a romantic vibe.
Yeah, it was.
It was very intimate until I got there. and went,
I wanted it to be welcoming.
Just be careful, break that little glass bulb.
I kept away from all of those
And then
things.
you have more problems than just being out of power.
It's away from those things. I made sure of that. But yeah, it was really awesome. And then of course, power came back on 10 minutes before the end of distribution. But we're very blessed. We have generators. They only run the walk-ins, so our food was safe.
Freezer.
Well, minimal losses because we have other refrigerators and freezers, but it was really cool to see about 20 volunteers that all showed up to help us make it happen.
Cool, yeah, it's really awesome. Nice community.
Yeah.
Morning. Steve Bugs for being late, and also, just happy that we were able to defrost a few of our fridges, but. Oh, yeah. So, and then, I've been down to Utah to visit my family, like all of my 5 other siblings are getting together for Thanksgiving down there. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Hopefully you didn't lose all that fish that you brought back from Alaska.
It's still good.
I'm just happy, the power out thing was a great opportunity to teach the 2 little dudes how power gets to the house and go out and see the linemen and understand what the lines do and how you can replace those dudes with the generator at your house also. They had a lot of fun to, figure out how the power works.
And they learned about the food bank.
And I took them to the food bank yesterday and.
They got a little bit of candy from somebody.
Come on, dude.
Just.
Yeah. Every time we turned around, they had something in their face. That was good. Okay, next thing, one of the things, well, I'll talk to you.
We got you, we get you,
I don't think so.
yeah? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Here's my Venmo. Yeah, we had a great time yesterday at the food bank and it was really fun to meet everybody and see it in action. They're like a well-oiled machine. Alex, the manager, Nick, just making 1,000 decisions left and right. So that was cool. So that was a little bit of a good deed I did yesterday, you guys. It was really weird. I was driving home later in the evening and there was a car stalled in one of the roundabouts. And I got out and pushed it to the gas station. And then on my street, there was literally a lost puppy that I was able to find its home. Really weird. Good day.
Was there a guy in a van?
Was he offering to?
Was there another guy that helped you push the car?
So I got out and then 2 other gentlemen.
So I think I saw something on Facebook, the person thanking whoever the lady was that helped push my car out of the.
I was the lady. Yeah, I was so winded. You guys. Little hill by the, yeah, it was in front of like the pines. Everyone was driving around them so fast.
And yelling, the lady said people are yelling at her, like, you can't park there, yeah. Duh.
Or rack, can you pull up next to them? Can you park here?
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy it's Friday. Brian reminded me of a story of how blessed we met a young lady that in my previous life, we had your car, supporting her in a special high school program. One day at school called us up and said she showed up with no shoes on.
Oh.
Her mom had stolen her shoes so she could sell them to buy drugs. So my mom is saint compared to that. Sad.
Yeah, very sad.
Actually, it's Friday, I'm pretty busy at home. I teach featherly making. I don't know if you folks know anything about that.
No.
It's a Hawaiian culture that I do. I teach featherly making. And this is for men's hats. I have pheasants that are centering. feathers,
Feathers, they don't come feathered.
and I put it together and what it is, it's a long band. And for each feather, when you're making the light, it takes 4 stitches. So it takes a long time to even get maybe an inch or inch and a half, you know, to get you. But people, men especially, are looking for somebody that makes those things. You cannot buy it. It has to be custom made. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm pretty busy. But you know what? I love to do that. Yeah. I love to do anything that pertains to my Hawaiian culture. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Thank you.
Hey, you know, I got my power back on at 10:30 last night after I went to bed. It was kind of. And I got to thinking about how grateful I am for the PUD workers. I mean, if you think of those men and women that are out there and all this stuff, down trees, you know, getting yelled at because people don't have their internet, you know, it's like big deal, you know, these men and women are out there risking their lives to get our power back. People are complaining on whatever that neighborhood thing is about, I don't have internet yet, you know, it's like, why don't you appreciate those men and women that are out there helping us, so. And Harrison Hot Springs, I just had a flashback, Joyce Bell, and forget where, Karen Alessi. They decided, the two of them, because Joyce used to have a motorhome. So they decided they were gonna drive to Harrison Hot Springs for the conference, which was fine, except they got lost on the way back. And I think they were like 2 days overdue getting back. But they were okay. They were out there just driving around the hillsides and trying to get back, so. If you knew either one of them, of course, you know Joyce, but Karen was as goofy as Joyce is.
I enjoyed those 2 days, I'm sure.
They were gone for.
Awesome, thanks, Lou.
Yeah.
And back to you, Mr. President. I'm happy it's Friday as always.
Sergeant Arms, you count that, so I can. And then, last couple weeks, we also said that, we were gonna raise money for. Yes, passing it out, so. Bucks there.
Is somebody taking? I brought toys.
Okay. I know Lori was. I told Lori last week that he was gonna give me a time to bring the connect with David. Okay, he has last week's money, so I'll just. Yeah, so I can try to connect. Always there for the resource centers. You.
Oh, this for 20?
Yeah, Chris is gonna put all the happy bucks in there.
And yeah, good things happen.
No, really?
That's what I do at church.
There you go.
Good things happen.
Talk to you next week.
Michelle, those of you that don't know, from our website.
No, I go to Venmo.
Okay.
Lake Stevens Rotary or Lake Stevens Dash Rotary Club.
Like Steven's Dash.
Especially gets the mail, is it Lori?
Oh,
Gary?
thank you. Yeah, we had big number.
Gary gets the mail.
It's a picture of me next to a rainbow.
I've been, okay. All right, well, thanks, everybody. Yes. Make sure.
Yeah, this is. Okay.
Yep. Looks like.
Yeah.
Back up, we're gonna get, going on with our world renowned speaker. All right, so, today's guest speaker is Mr. Lance, Morehouse, and he's gonna talk about building things. That's a PowerPoint.
We don't have any tickets, so who's gonna have a second raffle? So we'll do it in a couple of weeks.
An auction. I like that color.
Could auction it off for toys.
Did he make that from the tree that fell last night?
No, but I've got some stories about it.
So I have two of these boxes and a bench, right? And I put flowers in them and they're beautiful. And the lake was growing up onto our property with the windstorm and into the house. And the first thing I grabbed was my two boxes and bench holding close to the house. They
Well,
moved out.
there's another picture in here that's gonna have to do with you as well.
I'm looking for a clicker for you.
Did that do as much damage as the sink?
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
Was there a issue this week?
Sure works. All right, well, I am your fill-in speaker. So Kendra asked me on Wednesday if I'd come and talk about woodworking and how I got into it. I've never done a presentation on that. Usually I talk about other things in front of groups. But I'm not really here to promote the woodworking business. I'm gonna tell you how that came about. But just a little bit about how I got into woodworking is in high school, I think it was freshman class, they offered what was called industrial arts. So you had a quarter of metal shop, you had a quarter of small engines where you had to tear apart an engine and put it back together and hopefully it ran again. You had a quarter of mechanical drawing, kind of like drafting, and then a quarter of wood shop. So I had no idea I was interested in working with wood or anything until I took that industrial arts class. So just like many of us probably have teachers or educators that impacted our life, Mr. Whiteman was mine and he was the wrestling coach. So when I started wrestling as a freshman, he also taught the woodshop class. So he was very supportive in the wrestling. I took woodshop that next year after industrial arts. And in my senior year, I spent 4 hours of my senior year a day in the wood shop and doing drafting. I actually built a scale model earth sheltered home. I was going to be an architect. That was my plan when I was in high school. And I built a scale model earth sheltered home, did all the engineering on it and everything. It was 2 levels, kind of like 2 daylight basements, so only the front part was exposed. And I understand that they kept that on display at the high school for about 10 years after I left, so it was kind of cool. So from there, I got a job in sawmills in my young adult life in North Idaho. So what I say is I took my woodworking to a whole new level. When I was in high school, I built all the furniture that I moved out of my mom and dad's house in my senior year. So I built these cool octagon Tennessee red cedar speakers that were probably from the table this high and this wide, and bought all the speakers to put in it because I still, to this day, love really loud music. But in my sawmill days, started out pulling green chain. So anybody that knows anything about sawmills, that's the grunt work that you do. And I worked my way up to a quality assurance and quality control supervisor. And the cool part about that is it was a specialty cedar sawmill. So we did all the tongue and groove that you see in really nice homes, the cedar lap siding, all kinds of different siding. And so in my role as quality assurance and quality control, we were able to develop products, different products that the way that the sawmill made big money was just like we pay top dollar for oak that is imported to the West Coast from the East Coast, we send our cedar to the East Coast and do the same thing to them. So I appreciated my time in the sawmill and being able to figure out how to maximize wood. So how sawmills make money is you get a log and you got to figure out the best way to cut that log up to make the highest quality lumber that you can possibly make. So that's how I got into this. When I worked at the sawmill, I started bringing home millings and scraps, right? I was a single dad with 2 boys. The sawmill paid decent, but I supplemented my income by making cedar planters and just selling 20 or 30 of them a year. I've probably, in my lifetime, built 1,000 planters like that size. The ones that Amy are talking about is those benches. So those are what I do the most of nowadays. And then that one in the back is a kind of a raised planter. So I still buy the cedar that I use today from that same sawmill that I worked in North Idaho over 25 years ago. And the reason I bring that up is because if you look at this planter here, something you may or may not know about wood is we are in the coastal area here. We get a lot of rain, right? What that means for trees, if you ever cut one down or are trying to cut one out of your yard after it falls down, you'll see that the growth rings here on the coast are really wide apart. And that's because we get so much moisture that the trees grow really, really fast here compared to inland. So in inland, when the winter comes and the snow comes, trees don't grow much. So the wood is much denser if it's inland cedar than it is here. The wood that we get from this coastal area is very, very soft, especially after it dries out. I've seen cedar that dries out and you can see where the wood has shriveled because it had so much moisture in it. So I still go back to Idaho to the same mill that I worked in from my early 20s till my mid 30s. So most of my woodworking that I've done has been out of a garage, or when I lived in Spokane, couldn't do much here. You just bring the table saw out in the driveway and I'd make 20 cedar planters in a weekend, right? So when Carrie and I decided to sell our house here in Lake Stevens, one of the criteria is it had to have a shop, so I would have dedicated space for a wood shop. Boy, was that a mistake. So we started a business because it's one thing to make 20 planters, you know, a year and just sell them for $30 a piece, right? When I got into our house now north of town 5 years ago, I had all this space and I bought every tool that I ever dreamed of having and had all this space to really increase what I was doing. So I started to get worried about selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace and not collecting sales tax. I didn't want to lose my day job because I had this little hobby that I was making a little cash on the side, right? So Carrie, my wife, and my daughter Casey, these were Christmas presents probably 4 years ago. Casey designed those little business cards and Carrie ordered those little tags that are little brass pegs that can be put on the bottom of furniture that I make and stuff. So then I registered with the state, started a business officially, and I pay taxes on everything that I sell today. This shirt, my granddaughter's involved as well. She's made me a couple of shirts that say Morehouse Quality Woodworking on them. So that's the only reason, honestly, that I started the business. I thought it might be a retirement plan just to supplement my income, but it's turned into an actual business where I've got 10 projects in line now just by word of mouth. So when I worked in the sawmill, it was all about mass production, right? So when I got into my new shop, I had much more room. So I now make about 100 planters a year. And a lot of the other stuff that I'm going to show you, I don't make a whole lot of money off for the business. I just do it because I think things look cool and to meet people's needs. But this is where I make a little bit of money to buy the next piece of equipment that I want, right? Hopefully I have a fully furnished wood shop with everything that I want by the time I retire, so that I can just play with it. And again, when I buy low-grade wood from that cedar sawmill, the high-grade stuff is so expensive that there's no way you'd ever make planters. So again, I get to maximize, figure out how long of a piece I can cut in between defects of the wood to make planters. And so I get my fix on mass production. I donate a lot of these to nonprofit auctions across the area. So it's really fun. Charcuterie boards. In addition to the planters, I thought, well, this would be kind of cool. And this was my first kind of delving into anything live edge. So everybody know what live edge means? It's got the bark on the outside of it still. So I've done a lot of charcuterie boards. I joke with myself, if I'm gonna make one of something, why wouldn't I make 10, right? So I've done 2 rounds of these for Sherwood for fundraisers where I donated 20 of them to Sherwood. We sold them for $50 a piece, and it kind of supplements our budget at Sherwood. I do them out of birch and cherry. A lot of this is local. Some of the birch that I use came out of our yard and our property. We had some birch trees that were dying, so I had to cut them down, cherry trees as well. So then we get into the big stuff that I've moved into. I've always seen these live edge tables, right? And I've always seen the price tag on these live edge tables. How many of you have sat around this table? Just one? You can see it's on Lake Stevens. That's in Chris Jacobson's deck on the lake outside of his house. So he wanted a big table. That thing is 14 feet long. It's actually 2 7-foot sections. And those slabs of pine are over 3 inches thick. So he actually found a guy that he bought the wood from. And one of the things about doing this work is the wood wasn't totally dry. So we had to put it in his garage over in Marysville over the winter, early spring, to dry it down to 10 to 12% moisture content before you start working on it. If I would have finished it at the time that he got those slabs, this would be warped. I was worried enough that this is the only outside project like this that I've ever done. So on the underside of that table, I cut saw curves into the bottom of it, going across the table. So like right about here underneath, there's a piece of angle iron, 2 pieces of angle iron on each one that'll keep it from cupping. And the other thing that I told Chris to do if he wanted this was he needed to get a good cover to protect it from the sun, because that is indirect sun most of the year when the sun shines in this area, right? So for me, this is a creative outlet. I told Carrie when I started doing this stuff that I was just gonna build stuff, and if people liked it, maybe they would buy it, right? I now 100% of what I do is commission. People ask me if I can do something for them. I told Carrie I would never do that because, you know, if you do something for someone, that's gonna be, this table was $3,000 by the time we got it done. And they didn't like it, how, you know, how's that gonna work? But so far, knock on wood, everything has gone well, and everybody that I've done stuff for has appreciated what they've got. This is a table, if we're Facebook friends or you are on Morehouse Quality Woodworking, this is, I'm gonna deliver this table on Sunday. So this is a redwood burl. And if you look at the top of that table, really the pictures, the stuff that I do, don't do them justice. I mean, if you saw this thing in person, when you look at that top, it looks like the finish goes about 1 inch down into that piece, but it's just the way that the natural finish on top of that redwood burl brought it out. It almost looks 3-dimensional. So what I use on most of my projects is epoxy resin, which is a 2-part process. Anybody worked with epoxy? Okay, so I do most of my woodworking during the winter, and it has to be a minimum of 70 degrees in order to do the epoxy resin. So I probably spend more in electricity, and Carrie and I, we've made some concessions around this, but I probably spend more on electricity just to be able to do this in the winter in my big shop. I'm going to try to build a smaller space, so I only have to heat like a finished room, eventually in the future. But this table just turned out beautiful. It's got branches for legs that you can't see from this picture. But the guy came and looked at it about a week ago, and I put a new coat of resin over it this last week, and we'll drop it off to him on Sunday. So this is what my shop looks like most of the time. I do have a 16-inch drum sander that's open on one end, so it's big. It's got a big drum that spins around. So these slabs, I can run it through one way, flip it around and run it through the other way, and so I can sand 32 inches wide. A lot of the projects that I do, I just use the hand planer, and then sand it from there. So I develop a lot of wood chips and shavings. And there's a lady that I give all of the shavings to that has a llama and a pig, that she uses them for bedding. So again, not wasting much. That slab turned into that bench. So these are two benches that I built for Sherwood to honor our founder and another very strong supporter for many years that passed away during COVID. What was I going to say about the benches? They were really meaningful, and what I was going to say is the cedar that they're made out of actually came off of Sherwood's property. We did an expansion of our parking lot. We had to take out a couple of trees that were really close to our admin office. Some of my employees were not happy that we were taking trees down. And I promised that when we took those trees down, I'd bring them back to Sherwood in some way, shape, or form. So the cool part about that story in Sherwood's beginning, when they acquired that property, is when we built our buildings, there was an Eagle Scout project that planted all the trees that are on Sherwood's property. And these are some of those trees that the Eagle Scouts planted probably mid-75, 76. So I take it seriously. You know, in my sawmill days, we processed millions of board feet of wood, you know, whole forests, whole mountains. I really try to make sure that we use the wood that I can get that isn't necessarily cut down, or it's cut down because there's some kind of a danger. Or many of the people that I get the wood from would benefit from this last wood storm, because they go around and they say, I'll take that log off of your property, and then they mill it into slabs like this, and then I buy it. So this project, Amy's gonna recognize some of this. She wanted some floating shelves for her kitchen. And so this is black walnut. If you look at how deep and dark that color is. Those 4 pieces on the left, again, I bought a slab. The moisture content was a little high. I had to put it in my shop over the winter, at least 3 or 4 months before I got the moisture content down where I needed. So you can see the little stickers between the pieces that allow the airflow to go through. And the cool thing about floating shelves, if you do them right, is you don't see any hardware. It looks like they're just on the wall, right? So I had to route out about an inch, I think about 1.25 inches deep in the back side of every one of those shelves to put the hardware in. And then also they wanted lighting underneath the shelves. So we put those grooves in the underside of the shelves for lighting. Is there lighting on them yet?
Yes.
All right, I want to see them. So this is a picture of Amy's kitchen with those floating shelves put up. Not everybody loves live edge.
Hey, Lance, can you go back a second? to that?
Stop, whatever you're gonna say.
Oh, there's no water. Okay, go ahead.
This thing stop.
So not everybody likes live edge. This is, again, black walnut. Person wanted a table, oval shaped, didn't really like live edge. That's over 2-inch thick black walnut. And the cool part about this project is that black walnut came from a tree that was planted during the Civil War in Darrington. So it was 200 some years old. By the time a windstorm like we had this week blew it down. And again, a guy that I buy wood from went up and he said it took 12 of those big dump trailers to get that tree back to his little rail sawmill. So what you can't see on the left-hand picture is I've got a saw that'll cut a very true line so that the seam in the middle, there's two pieces there. And so I've cut that and I've drilled and doweled, there's 5 dowels that go into both sides and then glued it together to add for additional strength. And then cutting it into the oval, 2-inch thick, black walnut is very hard wood. That little skill saw did pretty good. There were a couple of places where the blade went one way or another, but here is the finished product. And this came from a referral from Kelly Devine. She had done some work on this woman's house, and those benches that you sit on were already there, but she wanted the table and the additional bench. So I made all of those out of the tree that was planted during the Civil War.
So I've heard from some guys who were arboristic and removing trees that the trees that were around when Mount St. Helens blew will wreck a chainsaw chain and they just have to replace them to about cut the next one. They'll go through a couple trees to solve it. Do you notice a difference in those older trees? Like, can you see where that happened?
What I notice more is people, if you've seen chainsaw mills, you can actually equip a chainsaw to make slabs. That is very, very rough cut. It takes me a long time to plane those down and to get them smooth. People that have these rail sawmills that you put the log up and it's actually got a big bandsaw, they're much easier to work with. So I started out just getting what I could. Now I'm a little more pickier on the wood that I get. But I've got some wood in my shop that came from the Sierra Nevadas and a forest fire that happened there that turned the tree color blue on the inside. And in addition, bugs got in there, and so it's got all these bug holes. So you would look at that and you would say, who would ever make anything out of that? They sell that stuff. It's like gold. People love that unique kind of wood. This is a table similar to the previous one that I made, did it the same way, but this is in Christine Egelstad's house. And that one is maple. So I love this story. Friends of ours built a house. They bought an extra counter. They had butcher block counters put into their custom home. And they bought an extra piece because they wanted to have a breakfast time. So the wife was very specific on the legs that she wanted on this table, right? Number one, that slab of butcher block is heavy. That thing probably weighs 300 pounds, I would guess. And so she told me she wanted these big legs, right? And I couldn't find anything online exactly the way she wanted. I was driving home from work one day, going the back way out to 123rd, and there was a bed frame on the side of the road with a free sign on it. And I look at those posts and I said, that's exactly what she wants for legs. So I had to do a little patchwork, cut them up, get them to look good. The paint matches their cabinet colors. And so it's just, I feel good when I'm able to recycle something like that and make something that looks like that out of it. Anybody been sit around this table? Brad and Kathy Niceother? This is in their front room. This was the biggest table I made prior to Chris Jacobson's table. And it's 3 pieces that were cut and glued together. So I do a little bit of other stuff. These are really hard because ingrain, the finish really soaks into the end. But this was a piece of firewood that a lady had from a tree that was in the front yard of her home that she grew up in. And she always knew she'd want to do something. So I took it to a guy that had a sawmill, had it cut into those 3 pieces, and she gave it to her sister and her parents for Christmas last year. So, Anybody been to this place, Impresario in Snohomish?
Really cool.
This is, I know I'm running out of time, but just a couple more minutes. She had a person come in, there's, I think, 8,600 pennies in that bar. And she used old pennies and new pennies to spell out impresario on the bar. She had some people that said they knew how to do resin, that came in, and, when I met her about 3 weeks later, it was still like soup. It never set up. So she's telling me the story, and I said, I can do epoxy resin. And I offered to see if I could save it for her, because she was thinking she was gonna have to throw all that away and start over. So it took me a few weeks to get it to harden. Several coats over the top of what they've done that had really heavy hardener, but it turned out fantastic. So if you get an opportunity to go to the Impresario over in Snohomish,
Where's that in Snohomish?
it is about 2 blocks from your store, across from the distillery. What's the
Oh, okay,
distillery?
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's not marked, it doesn't have any signs, it's a speakeasy, and it's got very limited hours.
Looks like an abandoned building.
It does.
I drove by like 425
Yeah,
times.
and they painted the windows black so you can't see, and they got a black curtain over the door so you can't see anything, even if the door is open. So just a couple of other projects that I've done. The one on the far left and the bottom one, we may see during the holiday party, because John Spencer bought both of those pieces. The top one was a slab that a person started 60 years ago, and I bought it from his wife. He got the slab, he finished one side, and then it was underneath the bed for 60 years. So it was really cut. When you only finish one side and you don't finish the other side, it's got a tendency to do that. So I had to cut it in half, and I thought, what the heck am I gonna make out of that? So he bought it as an entertainment center. The bottom and the upright were 2 steps, black walnut steps that John had in a house remodel, or had left over from some project. So I incorporated those in. And then Carrie got her wine cabinet. Just a couple others. That one on the left was really cool to do. They wanted a live edge vanity in their bathroom. So they had bought the sink, and I did the little vanity and mounted the sink on it, and she sent me the picture once they had it all set up. So that's it. Thank you very much for letting me share today. I love doing this. It's creative. Like I say, it's a retirement gig that got out of control way before I retired. I could probably do this full time, but I won't be able to put into retirement and make the money that I need to before retirement. But that's what I hope to spend about 20 hours a week on after I retire.
Nice.
Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, awesome. All right. A reminder, next week is Buzz In, and Chris, you got a question?
Yeah, so we have $303 for the resource.
All right,
I don't know about Ben.
So there's more with that.
there's more.
Yeah,
Cool. That's awesome.
Has anybody reached out to the Buzz Inn to reserve that room?
No,
I will do that.
thank you. And I think if you look ahead, we have a couple more coming up just because of the holidays, so I don't know if it's too early to do that. It's on the website. It's on the website and the calendar, like, so that's probably Christmas week, I think is, I'm not sure what day Christmas is, maybe it's the day after Christmas, 25th. I'm not sure when that Friday is. And then I think the day after New Year's or somewhere around New Year's, I think we have another one. All right. Man, this is a rough crowd this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Bye, Johanna.
All right, I'm glad that worked out.
You have, so is your next purchase?
No, there's so much out there. there's so many people that have them. I've thought about it, but why would I do that? I'll just help support
Yeah, no,
the people that already do it, because I can get the wood fairly cheap.